comments below. But let's jump right into it. So why Calammanus worms are these little red worms you'll see sticking out of the fish's anus or the vent. So needless to say, right here, Expel-P, levamisole is one of the treatments you can use, and it's a pretty straightforward treatment. It's one package per 10 gallons. So you just judge the tank and you're going to add it. It dissolves very easily. No need to mix it in ahead of time or anything. And the next day, do a 20% water change, cleaning the bottom of the tank because the fish are going to expel the worms. And we want to try and remove those worms for so it doesn't contaminate or cross, recontaminate the fish, should I say. A few things you got to do. You got to remove carbon from the filter or using Purigen, no chemical filtration. And if you're using a UV filter, turn that UV filter off. So the UV isn't going to is going to break down levamisole. It's so strong, it's going to break chemical bonds in it. And so what I'm going to do is turn off all the lights for 24 hours. It's not going to hurt the plants or anything. Just the next day they won't run on. Don't worry about the ambient room light. You don't need to black the tank out or anything. What they're going for is the maximum strength of the medicine for as long of a period of time as possible and nothing to degrade it. Like if you read the package, it says it stays in the water for a decent amount of time, but chemical filtration will remove it. Now you're going to treat again 1 week later, and then from there, watch the fish. Now, when you see the worms coming out of the anus of the fish, that is a fully mature female worm giving birth to live larvae that are free swimming in the water. This is why cross contamination is so bad and why I have to treat all my tanks. Shared equipment from cleaning or my hands or anything like that could have transferred it. Plants could transfer those worms in around your fish room. So biosecurity is where that topic is, but I'm not obviously got my hands in all my tanks, and so I'm going to treat them all. Wasting disease, a lot of people will call it, where the fish is, even though they're eating, they're not really robust or very thick and heavy and strong. So that could be, the first sign, because once you see them coming out of the anus of the fish, they are fully matured. You've had them for a while. You definitely have everybody in the tank. It's not like just remove and treat the one fish that you see. So rather than also treating it, I saw it in my angels in the bow front tank, but rather than just treat the one, then I just treat them all, then chase them all around the house. So, but the plants, on the other hand, let's go over, like, why did I buy these tissue culture plants? And my feeling is that, let me see if I can get a good close up. If you look at that plant, it's not really that big, right? But it is pretty dense, and that's going to break up into a bunch of plants. And what I'll do is I'll probably have to shoot some B-roll of breaking these down. But this is in a liquid where usually they would come in like a gel. And this is a kind of a newer thing. And just basically rinse this off and clean and break them up, and then you can plant it. Now this is Boost, which I really am in love with, and I try all different types all the time. And I'm just going to tie this down with thread this time rather than glue it. The reason that tissue cultures have benefits are that this is a sterile culture. There's no algae, there's no snails, there's no pests. So in this tank, I have a video where I rebuilt the whole tank because the snails, small snails, will get in and jam the filter. So I had redone the whole tank. I'm not going to add any plants from any of my other tanks because they have snails, unless I were to clean those plants first. So basically, I want to put some boost in there, and so this is a perfect option for that. I'll probably put some in the 40 breeder too, because I think that, I can propagate these faster in this tank. And then, while they're a little bit smaller, the advantages of the immersed grown plants like this in a potted plant is that this is grown immersed, meaning that the leaves are in the air, more carbon access, and then the roots are wet at all times or submerged, and that will sometimes grow and melt back, if you will. And cricks are famous for it, where they'll melt back. But as long as you have good, healthy roots, the plant is going to grow its submerged type of growth. Boost doesn't really often change its type of growth, and when it melts back, it's usually because of a dramatic change in its environment. So, but these are pretty hardy plants. But the reason that, usually a tissue culture plant doesn't melt nearly as bad, or if at all. And but Boost is just very forgiving in that. As long as you have very stable tanks, it's a pretty forgiving plant. So the differences between the two is really just how they're grown. And one thing can be said about tissue cultures is that they're a little more environmental because they're grown in labs that use a lot less light, and they are much more forgiving for shipping too. So it's a much more profitable thing. They last much longer. This package unfortunately showed up a few days before, and I totally forgot that I had put plants in there, and it was in a box in the dark, and these plants did not suffer at all. So ultimately, I think that the tissue cultures is nice, especially if you're trying to keep your tank, snail and pest free. It's very important to you. Then that's the route I'd recommend to go. And then immersed grown plants, you usually get bigger, hardier plants because they've been had more oxygen access. So as long as they got good, strong roots, you will have a good, strong plant that'll grow eventually. So I hope this helps, and that you enjoyed your tanks this week and you got to see what's going on with mine. I'll see you on the next one.